So guys, please don't get me wrong. This is not like a hard hit piece against Halo or against Halo Infinite telling everyone how awful the game is. I enjoy the game. I play it regularly, not very often anymore, right? Because there is just not enough reason to get back to this game. I'm sure we can all agree on that. But if we look back, like what a massive cornerstone Halo used to be for the Xbox, and generally how this beloved brand has kind of fallen apart under the management of 343 Industries, it's just devastating and it's sad. So I want to look at that in this video. And again, I don't want to just talk bad about Halo because in a nutshell, I do enjoy the game. But if you just look at these player numbers on Steam charts, obviously this is just representing the Steam player base. I don't have numbers for Xbox, but Titanfall 2 has more 24-hour peak concurrent players, and also like down here in the average like peak players every other month, has higher player numbers currently than Halo Infinite multiplayer. And keep in mind, Titanfall 2 is like hacker riddled. It has many problems. It's not a free-to-play game, right? Titanfall 2 costs money, while Halo Infinite multiplayer is a free-to-play title. So what's going on, right? Is it really just the content? And I found this little Steam review, which is quite correct, actually. Someone says, Destiny 2 is going to have 2 more major expansions by the time that Halo Infinite gets an in-game report button. Okay, and I think, yes, this does play a massive role, at least for me. I don't want to play much of Halo Infinite anymore because every time I come back to the game, even it says new season, there's nothing new there because new means new guns, new maps, new skins, new accessories. Like, even when you start the game and you see kind of your squad, like they all line them up and stuff, they all look the same. It's like, oh, this guy wears a neck scarf. That's the big differentiating factor, and he probably grinded like so many hours just to get that scarf. It's ridiculous, right? You have to have a mechanic where the customization for Master Chief is huge, and you have an infinite amount to customize your character, and you actually unlock them like almost after you finish every single game. You get access to a new item that you can use and that customizes your character, but there's just nothing there. And if you think about, Halo was introduced as a game as a service, right, which might be compared to like Destiny 2 for example, or maybe Warzone, right, which like Fortnite, all these games that have like continuous content updates. It just has failed. The concept of Halo as a game as a service has failed because 343 Industries could not put enough content behind that game on a regular basis that it stayed interesting for players. And as a result, you can see now the game has less players, less active players than Titanfall 2, on average at least, right? So the lack of continuous content has destroyed this game. And I mean, there are loads of opinions. A lot of people say the game is just bland in general and it's boring. But you would think that 343 Industries pulls themselves up on their bootstraps, right? And they're like, no, we got to make a change. From now on, we're hitting all the deadlines. We're increasing the content. We're turning this around, doing a No Man's Sky on it, and in 2 years' time, it's going to be a very popular, great game with a lot of content. And it's like, no, actually, the exact opposite is happening, right? So they promised this local co-op split screen feature, which just a few days ago has been cancelled. Okay. Also, the season 3 of the multiplayer, new content, has just been delayed until 2023. Which is insane. I mean, do you remember when Call of Duty, Warzone, or Destiny 2 had delayed their seasons? You remember that, right? No, you don't. Because they don't delay their seasons. Okay? It's not a thing. It only happens with this game. So there's something wrong with 343 Industries. It was clearly, you can push it, shove it, do what you want with it, but it was clearly the wrong choice to give Halo to that studio. And if you look a little bit behind the scenes at 343 and do a bit of Googling and researching, there's so much stuff that is wrong. Like, for example, I found this little article on Reddit, right, which says that the person that held the position of Joseph Statens before him was actually, it seems like, actively responsible for misleading the higher-ups about the state of Halo Infinite, right? So as the game was about to be finished and about to be released, he basically lied to the internals about Halo Infinite being in a deliverable state. Okay, and beyond that, people have been leaving 343 Industries. I mean, look, sure, we're in the games industry, okay? There's always a fairly high turnover of staff. But that mostly applies to lower ranking staff, okay? Like designers change, environment artists change. People come and go, maybe the writers come and go. But in March, the lead multiplayer designer, Andrew Witts, left. In May, the head of design for Halo Infinite, Jerry Hook, left to form his own new studio after working almost 2 decades with Microsoft on Halo. And even in the lead up to the launch of Halo Infinite, people were leaving, right? Like, for example, creative director Tim Longo and executive producer Mary Olson both left the project in August 2019. In October 2020, the Halo Infinite director, Chris Lee, announced that he was leaving 343 Industries as well. And now, just 5 days ago, Bonnie Ross, who is the head and co-founder of 343 Industries, is leaving as well. Now, she claims in this tweet that I have right here, I'm going to read it out to you guys, that it's for personal medical reasons. She says, "While I had hoped to stay with Halo until we release the winter update, I'm letting you know I will be leaving 343 and attending to a family medical issue." Now, let me just say, I have no reason to assume that that is not true, and I wish that everything goes well with her family. Obviously, I have no ill wishes to anyone personally. It sounds awful, okay, that she has to quit her job over this. She continues, "I'm incredibly proud of the work that everyone has done, blah, blah, Master Chief Collection, the Halo television series, and so much more. It has been an honor to serve alongside the team for 15 years. Thanks everyone in the Halo community for your support. Halo's future is bright. I cannot wait for all of you to experience what we have in store and to cheer alongside you as a fan at the Halo World Championship in October. See ya, Bonnie." Okay, and she's out. Now, again, I have no reason to doubt that this is true, that she's leaving for a personal medical family emergency. Okay, that's all good. But if you look at this list of people who have been leaving, and again, these are not like small people, like small environment artists. These are all like, lead designer, head and co-founder, Halo Infinite director, executive producers. All these people leave the company. That's not a good sign. Okay, that kind of speaks for itself. And I'm not the only one who kind of sheds a little bit of questionable light on this whole decision of Bonnie Ross leaving. Brad Sams also said in this tweet that Bonnie Ross left 343 due to a management reshuffle. Halo Infinite Season 3 delay was the final straw. Sounds like 343 house cleaning has started. Okay, and looking at the history of those kind of layoffs or people leaving, you gotta understand, right? If you're in an executive position in a company like that, you're not being fired. That's just something that doesn't happen. You are leaving for reasons. That's how that works. It's just kind of the diplomatic way of going about these things. Again, I don't know, maybe she really has to leave because of a family emergency. It's not impossible. But looking at tweets like this, I'm not the only one who doubts that that really is the reason. And it feels much more like Microsoft and 343 in collaboration are now really reshuffling the team. And they're like, no, okay. Project Halo Games as a Service thing has failed across the board. We got to come up with a different strategy, and a different strategy involves a new team, right? New people on the helm, and they're going to turn this around, hopefully, in the long run. Apparently, Brad Sams also says in this video, where this quote is taken from, that the scope creep and the technical depth, I think it means technical depth, right? He says depth, but I just assume it means depth, like the technical depth of Halo Infinite, are some of the factors holding Halo Infinite development back. Right. I guess that's fair. You can imagine it's a nightmare, right? Creating, if you have an engine or like a platform where it's really, really difficult to implement new content, and let's say on a Warzone game or on Destiny 2, the engine is built that you can introduce new helmets and costumes and a new map within like a month or two of actually modeling them up. And in Halo, it just takes so much more because the process of the technical creation of those assets takes so much longer. Right, so now you've kind of screwed yourself over by choosing the wrong engine, by creating kind of a workflow that hinders you the longer the project is going on. And it seems that that has been the case here. When you read these discussion boards on Reddit and so on about Halo Infinite, a lot of people are saying, now is the time to return Halo back to a smaller studio. I mean, clearly Microsoft seems to have the idea that a reshuffle at 343 will do the job. But a lot of people seem to think that Halo needs to go back to its roots, right? It came from a fairly, when compared to where it is now, fairly small studio. And a lot of people think it should go back to that. Let a small studio handle it. Let them develop a rather quick and easy workflow and just take it back to its roots, because a core problem at 343 Industries, and having worked in creative companies as well, like it is across the industry, like the creative industry. I can't speak for the games industry, but across the creative industry, a big problem that too many chefs are cooking one dish. You know what I mean? Too many people want to have a say, and too many people are like, no, we got to do this, and we got to make like this, and before we sign it off, we got to show to this layer, and at that level of management, and they got to sign it off, and they all have feedback, so you got to, and it never goes anywhere, because everyone is obstructing everyone else with opinions and with lack of like just straightforward decision making. And ironically, Bonnie Ross, who's leaving now, will not be replaced by one person, but instead, she will be replaced by 3 people. Okay, so there will be 3 people instead of 1 now. The current head of production, Pia Hinze, will become the new studio head. The head of Halo marketing, Brian Koski, will become the franchise general manager. And the current head of Halo operations, Elizabeth van Wyk, will continue to oversee the business side. So what Bonnie Ross was doing before is now broken down into 3 roles, so you have even more chefs trying to cook this one dish. I'm not saying, you know, it's definitely doomed and it's just going to get worse from here. Some of these decisions might be right, but just looking at this from a little bit of a distance, it does not look like these decisions. I mean, I think what Halo really needs is simplification. Okay, this game, the process of creation, the process of decision making, everything that happens around this game needs to be simplified and boiled down into very, very simple, easy to execute processes, right? Where not too many people are meddling around with decision making and having too many opinions, because it looks like that's where we are today, and that's where the past few years have gotten us to. So I'm personally not sure this is the right decision to move forward for Halo Infinite, but I don't know what you're thinking, right? If you're, I mean, I'm a casual Halo Infinite player. I play it every now and then, a round or 2, and then I shut it down and maybe reopen it 2 weeks later, play a round or 2. If you're like a hardcore or like really a big fan of Halo Infinite, you play it a lot, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts? What does this game need in order to be fixed? Is it like a full reset? Like, just leave it where it is, maybe do this winter update they're talking about, and then move on, okay? Like, just create a new Halo, give it to a new studio. It's going to take a few years, but restart it. It's the only way forward. Or do you think a reshuffle at 343 might do the trick? What are your thoughts? Leave all that down in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear that, because I don't know where this game can go from here. It seems to be dead at this point, and I'm not even sure that like a big winter update is going to turn this around. Even let's say they introduce like, oh, here are new guns and new enemies, and maybe even a little story update, like a free story DLC that you get if you bought the campaign, and 3 new multiplayer maps. People just have lost interest. Like, nobody cares anymore. Like, that's how it feels, at least to me. Okay, maybe you care. That's all fair. But it feels to me like people have lost interest in this game. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for watching. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more. And I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. I'm out. Bye.